6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right. Hey, we have fun even before the show starts, you know?
Brilliant.
Hey, we got a special guest.
Baz!
Barry
That's
Thomas,
Baz.
also known as Baz. So good to have you on because
Yes.
you got us started in this silliness, and we really appreciate it. We are having fun. And we're going to start out today talking about our trip because you were a part of that too.
Indeed.
And I was just having a discussion with Baz. It's like so much good stuff happened over the weekend. I want to get to that. But
There we go.
we had a trip. Hey, first of all, because hopefully there's some Americans starting to follow us too. I'm going to start with you, Dan, because I want them to understand what it takes to commit to going over every year, and your secret formula for getting up to Newcastle and arranging everything, hotels and all that. And then I'll cover mine, and we'll get little bits from Baz because he knows the area and he was with us the whole time. So why don't you start us off, Dan? What's it like to be 7 hours away, or is it 8? 7?
8 now. When we were over there, it was 7, but then we went through daylight savings while we were there. So yeah. So
you're 8 hours away, and you're traveling around the world to go to this match because that's our passion. Go ahead and tell us.
Well, no, it really does come down to the super travel agent that is my wife, Tara. She is the queen of finding the flights and the hotels and everything. She is a rabid Orbitz user. She finds everything on Orbitz. So when we fly, we usually fly out of San Francisco, and we can fly British Airways direct from San Francisco to Heathrow.
Wow.
And then once we get to Heathrow, if we can get a good connecting flight up to Newcastle, we can do that. Or, we haven't done it yet, but it is on the bucket list. We would love to take the train, get the metro. Oh, come on, Baz. It's fun.
It costs a fortune though.
See it sorted. No, so that, I mean, and people often ask how long is that flight? It's a 9.5 hour flight from San Francisco to London. And that's because it goes up the west coast and over Canada. We fly over Hudson Bay. And I will tell you, coming back this time, Hudson Bay was frozen over. There were huge chunks of ice. It was fantastic. It really was a neat experience. So, but in terms of hotels, we just look around and see what hotels are we can do the package deal with. When we went over last year in May, we stayed at the Sandman, which is right across the street from St. James's Park, simply because it was right across the street from St. James's Park. We just wanted to be in city center right there. What we learned traveling with you last May was we'd go down to the quayside and we'd have dinner and we'd have some drinks, and then we'd have to walk all the way up the hill back through the big market and all the way back up to the Sandman. So this time we stayed at the hotel Indigo because it was halfway down the hill, and that was a brilliant move by my wife.
And on those long treks from the quayside going back to the Sandman, you'd stop off and have another meal.
Yeah, great. We'd stop at Greg's, absolutely, right. or a Chippy, or the two hot dog vendors that are on Big Market, one right after the other. You can't beat a late night hot dog. You just can't.
You can't.
But no, so that's all part of the trip. It's it's finding the deals. Number one is making the connection with Uncle Jack and John O'Hare and getting a ticket. That's the most important thing. because John looks at the schedule and figures out when can we get 2 home games back to back, and then you dedicate resources to getting tickets, and then we
then
we figure out a way to pay you back in kind.
Then I ask the super fans that I know, and there's a bunch of them, but there's some that are near and dear to my heart, and that would be Shade and Eddie and Dan and Tara, and I always go by them first. I also called Jamie, who, by the way, is over there this last match. Lucky dog.
No kidding.
He got to see the match yesterday, which was fantastic. So yeah,
not jealous at all.
So Dan, we squeezed in a lot this time.
Yeah.
Let me just kind of recount, and you can add
Please
to it. But we went to the podcasters fundraiser match. So that was Adam Pearson and Lee from Nufc TV.
Yep. And then we had Matt from the Magpie channel.
Yep.
And they were all representing the Loaded Mags, I think, if I remember right. Well, there was Newcastle Fans TV and Loaded Mags, who were the two teams, and there was representation from many. Yep.
Davey. I mean, I got to meet some people I didn't know. I mean, I only knew through Twitter or, engaging with fans and that kind of thing. But then there's some old friends that, we saw and we enjoyed watching the match. That was fun to go to a local place and watch. Right.
Yep.
So we did that. I squeezed in, I forget. I squeezed in a visit to Baz's Monk's Eaton. What is it?
Hometown.
Local pub, and that was fantastic. I even knew some people in there that he didn't know.
No, they didn't know me. That was the horrible thing about it.
You've been going there for the better part of 25 years, and they recognize John.
I know you. I was just like, you've got to be kidding me.
That's one regret from this trip, was that we didn't make it out to Tynemouth and around the Monk's Eaton. We were in Edinburgh that day. So
that's right. That's right. I was trying to figure out why you went there. That's right.
No, that was the day. That was the day after. We were what do we do? Oh, we met up with Roger and Siobhan at the what was the name? The Bodega. And then you guys met us there. So
okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That was your day with good friends.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it was great. Then we went to the women's match after our first match.
Yep.
And they won handily. It was great. So that was fun to watch. Met some friends there too. I met some friends.
That was our first visit to Kingston Park. Was that your first time, John?
No, I went once. Was it last year, or maybe it was the first visit with Shade and Eddie? I went to one previously.
When I started following Newcastle, 30 years ago, that's where the reserves used to play out on that ground. Yep. Before the reserves were dumped by Keegan. And we saw the likes of Darren Huckabee and Paul Kitson and others that then went off elsewhere. Who was not Robbie Elliott, but the other one, the one who got acid thrown in his eyes, Baz. You remember?
Oh,
crap.
That's nasty.
Also another Robbie, and I can't remember what his name is, but he went on to play lower league football, I believe, if I remember.
So we've done this enough that we're getting beyond the stay in a hotel like a tourist. It's like, let's see everything the way Newcastle people see. Let's go to our favorite pub. Let's go to Baz's favorite pub. Let's go to a local field. We were going to squeeze in Benfield
game, but I changed the bloody time of kickoff, didn't I?
Yeah, and there's been so much rain, it's saturated some of those fields. They've skipped games. But that was fun. And then the matches themselves, we went to the West Ham match, which was outstanding. We're losing 3-1. We come back and win 4-3. Fantastic time.
What a match to be there. I mean, I think that's just, it was the excitement of that particular match that then got topped by yesterday's match. I mean, I only wish that we could have stuck around for the Spurs game, because holy moly.
Yeah. It made me think there's been a number of, although everybody thinks this is a miserable season because of the injuries we've had some big game wins. We beat PSG at home. We battered them. We also
went to Milan and came back with a point.
Yeah, I was there in November and I saw us beat Chelsea 4-1.
Yep.
Stuck around an extra week and we beat Man United 1-0.
Yep.
I was there with you.
Yes, you were.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's been some big wins this year. And so, I mean, despite all the pain and misery and just feeling for the guys that have been hurt and some of them coming back too early, it's just been a fantastic year. This late, we're in 6th place. I mean, that's amazing.
The fact that we were in 8th at the start of yesterday. The fact that we ended the day arguably in the European spots with a full 12, starting 11 plus Tonali being suspended, out injured, and we still battered Spurs 4-0. I just you look at that. I hope this truly and finally silences the Eddie out campaign. I mean, for crying out loud. And what else could you have thrown at him and we're still in 6th? I mean,
and he's getting stuff out of people that nobody else would. It's like he put Murphy in the back. He put Murphy all the way in the back. I started to feel a little worried.
I don't know if you noticed it properly, but he played a 3-4-3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We played Murphy in midfield in a 4, but when we didn't have the ball, we dropped into almost.
He dropped back. Yeah. He had a 5 in the back.
So sneaky how we did it.
Yeah.
It was brilliant tactics from Eddie Howe, and it just shows you he has a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, a plan D. It was plan E on yesterday.
Yep. I think he developed plan D and plan E this year because of the injuries.
Oh, without a doubt. But if Carlsberg did weekends for us, Brighton drew. Brentford won, which they're safe now. Wolves drew. Man United drew.
Yep.
West Ham got beat.
Yep.
Spurs got beat off us, of course.
Villa won. Villa had a great game.
Villa were brilliant today against Arsenal. So were Palace, to be fair, the way they defended. It was a great game to watch. Watch both of them.
Yep.
But if Carlsberg did weekends, this was it for us because this put us right back into the mix again.
Yep.
And I still think somehow we can catch Spurs because they've got Man United, Arsenal. Is it Man City, Arsenal, and Liverpool in the next 3 games or something stupid like that?
Well, yeah.
We've got Burnley, Sheffield United, and Palace. They lose 3, we win 3. We're 1 point behind them.
Yeah, we can be neck and neck with them for sure. And I thought, I was disappointed that Arsenal lost today because I wanted 2 teams that we were shooting for instead of just the one, Tottenham, because I thought Aston Villa would be catchable too if things broke.
If they got beat today, because we've got a game in hand on them, so it would have been. But it's quite funny, especially all the stick we get off Arsenal fans to watch them bottle it in their own ground. And now Man City are just laughing. Yep. They're going to win the league now.
I think so. Yep.
Yeah. Hey, when in all our running around, and we also hosted a Friday night event when we were there, and that was wonderful because we talked to a lot of people on Twitter. A lot of Geordies and a lot of Americans all showed up at Shearer's on Friday afternoon at 6 p.m.
Yep.
And it was just me and Dan and Tara getting there early and then drinking our first beer and just hoping some people would show up. And boom, one by one, somebody from Minnesota, somebody from Washington, D.C., somebody from Massachusetts. I mean, it was terrific.
The couple that were there for Omar's 50th birthday. They came over for the weekend as well.
San Diego.
Met Omar and Carla from San Diego. They were there. Yeah. And then Dan Anderson, who I've been following on Twitter for a long time, he showed up. And we got to meet in person for the first time. That's always for me the best part of the trips is getting to meet people in person, face to face that I've never met before that we know from social media. I got to meet Baz this time. I got to meet I got to see Ian Davison again. I got to meet Derek Platten from the NUFC Insider channel. I got to see Charkey again. And I want to give a shout out to Sharky because he gave me a flannel scarf to put in my belt for home games. And if anybody has seen my Instagram page from last night, it's front and center right there. You can't miss it. So, so it's for me, it's all about the camaraderie when we get over there. It's meeting all the people, bumping into people in Rosie's, you know, getting pictures with Keith Downey in Rosie's, you know, just for me, it's welcome home week again. You know, every time we go over, because you get to see the people that you met the last trip, and it's catching up, and you know, what are the kids up to? You know, what are the Barons doing? You know, it's fantastic. I love coming to Newcastle, and it's one of the reasons why my wife and I are looking to, you know, what are our retirement plans? You know, could we come up with something and be there? So it's something that we're looking at.
Yeah, you know, my only regret is some people want to meet up on match day, and we are running nonstop. Even though we had all this meet and greet the day before, match day is kind of crazy, and it was a little more crazy this year because I had all the tickets on my phone, and I was trying to get the club to help me out. Give me paper tickets, and I'll hand them to the people I got them for, and they'll go in. You know, so I was running around a lot. But
you were busy.
A special shout out to Caitlin and Nick. They've been so good to us. And I only had like 5 minutes to just spend a little time. I gave her a hard time. I said, "Oh, you're even prettier than everybody said." You know, it's like it was meant as a joke. I hope she took it the right way.
I'm so sorry I missed them, because that having seen them in the comments as often as we do, I would have been neat.
They were just wonderful, and I wish I got to spend a little more time talking to them. And there's a couple other people, even Ian, you know, we talked to Ian a little bit, and then Chalky and, you know, some of his friends, Ian again, and Steve, they all came in, and we were talking to them. And if you just turning around saying hi to everybody, you know?
and then Jeff, and then again, you were meeting when Kayla and her pal showed up. It was, I mean, it's always fun to hang out with other folks that we met on the summer tour that then are in town. And I want to also make sure, look at that. Look at those.
Look at that.
And look at Baz and Dad. And then there's Roger and Siobhan when we went to dinner at Pinocchio, a fight-free dinner at Pinocchio. You know, but then look at that picture of us. Where was that? Was that Rosie's?
Outside Rosie's, right there
Rosie's.
after the game.
Right. Yeah.
So the one on the right, that old guy, he's from Adelaide. So I met him in the ground. And he recognized my voice from doing the watch along. He says, "I watch your watch along." I was just like, "That's crazy." I was like, "Where are you from?" He's like, "I'm from Adelaide, Australia." I thought, "No way, are you watching me? You're from Australia." I was like, "That's mint." And then when I got to my seat, he was sitting right behind us.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
I had to take a picture.
That's true. Yeah, we met people from Finland, a guy from Norway.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
who's been following Newcastle since 1972.
There you go.
And he came over hoping to find a ticket, and he couldn't get a ticket, so he watched the match in Shears at Shears for the West Ham match, and then he was watching the match for Everton. I'm kind of trying to remember where he was going to watch the match, but I mean, what a wonderful man. He was a lot of fun to talk to as well.
Yeah. So anyway, just to recap, you American fans that want to go over, you know, you've never been, maybe have a chat with Dan Devlin, have a chat with myself. Easiest way is through text or through DM on Twitter, and we'll help you out figuring out the logistics and everything. I travel a little bit differently. You know, it almost takes me the same amount of time because I'm in the middle of the country. I've got to change planes in Chicago or Dallas to get on the long haul to go over. And it's 10 hours once I do that. So it's 12, 13 hours easy.
But give them your plan when you get to Heathrow.
Oh man,
that's something that we've not done, but you know, at the same time, we're jealous when you do it, because we get to Newcastle, we're knackered by as soon as we get off the plane.
I couldn't do it. I would be hurting people if I did it your way. I would just be at the end of my rope. And so what I do is I fly from here to Dallas, typically connect all the way to London, get off the plane at 6 or 7 in the morning, and I walk right across the parking lot in Terminal 2, and I go to the Hilton Garden Inn, and I take a 3 or 4 hour nap. You can get a day rate for the room. It's sometimes lower than a regular room, and that's the best of times, especially during the week. And so I just camp out. I watch TV till I fall asleep. I sleep until 1 p.m., get up, take a shower, go get some lunch, go down to the terminal, which I walk across the parking lot to the terminal. I had that 1 hour flight up to Newcastle, and I'm good from then on. It's like staying up late a long day and then getting 3 hours sleep. You know how it is, and you wake up at 7. You know, it works for me because I'm older and I just get really cranky if I don't get any sleep. So
we usually have a 3 hour layover in Heathrow, and Tara and I now have a favorite pub. We just go to Pilots there in the Heathrow International Terminal, and that's where we get our first Guinness of the trip. It's you got to. I mean, we drink Guinness here in the States, but it's just not the same. As soon as you get to the UK, it tastes differently in Ireland. It tastes the best in Ireland. We'll just say that. But as soon as you get to Europe, you got to get that Guinness in your veins. You just got to. It's and it just tastes that much sweeter. It's fantastic. But we get there. She'll usually get scone and clotted cream. And I will usually get chips or a curry or something like that. But we find a way to just while away the time right there in the terminal. We'll go look around, but we get really excited to get on that flight for that hour-long trip up to Newcastle, and then as soon as we get to Newcastle, it's down to the metro and then get down to city center as quickly as possible. That's where we met John for the first time in the last trip back in May. We were delayed, and then. And I was texting John on DM via Twitter, just saying, this is where we are, this is what we're doing. And when we got off the metro, when we got off the train at St. James's Station, right there across the street from the stadium, John was on the platform. And that's when we got to meet. It was, and Tara and I laugh about it to this day. It's something that what my dad would have done, John. It's something that immediately enamored you to us. It made you family from second one, and it's just that's why you're Uncle Jack. That's the way it is, and that's what makes this community so special. Is you get to meet these people and they become family very, very quickly. Baz, I love you like a brother, and I've only met you in person once. But we were hugging on each other for the rest of the night. Well, it might have been drink involved, but nonetheless, it was getting to meet. We got to meet Steve from the back pages. From the back page, we got to meet. I'm just trying to go down the list of all the people that we got to run into. Big Mike and Fiona, our friends from our honeymoon 22 years ago, and we're still friends to this day thanks to social media. We finally got to see each other again in 2018. Got married in 2002. Got to see them again in 2018. Got to see them again in 2023. Now again in 2024. Just dear special friends to us. And I gave Mike our card, Baz, when I was there. So he's now got Through Black and White Eyes on his YouTube channel. I'm just thinking of all the different people that we met, and again, to run into Kayla, to run into Beverly and Leah from Chicago, to run into Jim from Nashville, and I want to also make sure that Jade and Naomi. That's right. I just want to make sure that people who are watching understand that none of this was coordinated either. It's not like we all got together and said, hey, let's meet up for these two games. It was a surprise when we were all getting ready. We were a week out and getting excited and posting on social media saying, 1 week away. And all of a sudden your DMs are exploding with people going, are you going to be there? We're going to be there. Wow, this is great. And and to have that kind of camaraderie again, how many dinners did Adam P join with us? I mean, we ran into him at the charity match. He then came to the pub. Then he came to Shears. And then after the West Ham game, we all went across to the Shark Club, and got something. Then we went to the Straub. I mean, we were everywhere on the West Ham game because it was the early game. And as soon as we were in celebratory mood, and then it was let's hop from place to place to place to place. It was fantastic.
And we met your friend Baz, Peter Clennell.
Peter,
he gave us a ride from the podcasters fundraiser down to Shears so we could meet up with all the people that we just kind of said, hey, everybody go to Shears, and everybody did. It was good.
And we're talking about the next visit, what our plans will be to get together again. We'd love to host another one of those get-togethers, maybe even do a show from somewhere. So
we have plans, don't we? We've got them in the pipeline. Doing a charity event while doing as long as we get a few microphones and get a few people interested in, pay some money on the door in a bucket for the food bank, and then hopefully we'll have something to raffle off as well or auction off.
There's lots of plans. That's what we do when we go over anyway. We contribute to the food bank. I know some of us contribute to War Flags also.
And regularly.
Another shout out. I had two lads from here in Norman, Oklahoma join me, and you guys got to meet them. They came over, my two neighbors. One's a diehard Newcastle family guy. He's got grandfather and everybody from Newcastle. He couldn't wait to get over. He brought his good friend, my neighbor, Jonathan, over. So Scott and Jonathan both went and saw a Newcastle match with us. It was great. It was good fun.
There's a question for you too.
What do you got?
All right, lads. Question: do you understand the Geordie accent all the time? Not everyone is posh as me.
I do pretty well, but I will also say, you get a bottle of brown ale and all of a sudden the ears perk up a little bit, and
I don't know. I don't know. I have to go to the metro. I don't know.
Portuguese, that wasn't it?
All right.
That's better.
Fucking through your head to the window.
That was a bit of Geordie Indian.
Exactly. It was the whoever that lad was in Pinocchio that night. That was above and beyond.
Bad news.
Yep. But we also went to what was the Lebanese place down by the Dog and Parrot? We went there for drinks and dessert one night, and those desserts were fantastic.
Yeah, that's a really good place. It's it's not high end expensive, but they've got a really good menu, and they're open late, so I always go there.
Yep.
Hey Shay,
one of the funny things that we saw this trip that we didn't notice last time was whenever we walked into a pub and we saw football was on the screen, I jokingly said to John, "Look, it's the Empty Pint channel again." And there was this little logo of a pint glass down the bottom. So I kept asking questions, and finally someone explained to me what that meant, that they were properly licensed to show the football in
the game.
That was neat. That was something that we'd never seen before.
They pay a fortune, don't they? They pay something like $2,000 to be able to license to show football in their pubs. It's crazy.
Hey, I got something to throw out there. I don't know what to do. I've got Brighton tickets, and this trip was wild and successful, just like the one in November. But Dan can't go again this year.
I wish I could. Yep.
And so I'm trying to figure out if I should even go. If there's any Americans that are going and they let me know, maybe I'll pair up with them. But it's mental what I have to do. I have to go, and then when I get back, I have to change my clothes, do some laundry, repack, and the next day drive to Dallas so I can get on a plane to go to the East Coast to meet my family. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do all that. Because when I got back, we go nonstop and we're drinking the pints all hours of the day. And then I get back and there's always 3 days of downtime, and I got a cold as soon as I got back. And, I'm just whining. but if somebody says they're going to be over there, it's like, I'll get energy again and I'll get over there.
Hit up John. I wish I could go with you, brother. I really do. unfortunately, work piled up while I was gone, and it's
Not only that, you've got a big responsible position, several right now. So
I'm just happy to be employed. That's all.
yeah,
and I was able to afford a couple of weeks of downtime. So I want to shout out to yes, I have seen Auf Wiedersehen Pet. Yes, obviously. Yeah. Yes, that's the next one I wanted to talk about, Baz. Yes,
wait,
indeed.
yes, yeah.
Away the lasses.
Go for it, Dan.
Oh no! I mean, again, during our last trip, we got to see the ladies play out at Kingston Park, and we watched them beat Liverpool Fed 5-1, which was a fantastic experience. But on that day, we learned that it was not mathematically possible for them to win the championship that day at Kingston Park. It would have to wait until the next match, which was at home against Huddersfield Town, and that match happened to take place today, and it was a compulsive 10-0 victory. I mean, are you
can you
kidding
believe
me?
that? I mean, that's the way to jump into the next league, right?
and to do it back to back. I mean, they were in the third division or second division 2 seasons ago. They got promoted as champions last season, and now they've repeated. Now they're in the championship. I mean, just fantastic. And I mean, again,
it's great work. It's great work because the more we get the women
job
further up the league and we get them into the Champions League eventually, it has a knock-on effect to the men's team as well because we get known worldwide. For both brands. You look at Man City, you look at Real Madrid, you look at PSG. Their women's teams
Arsenal
are fantastic. Arsenal's is fantastic. So so it is something we want to keep an eye on.
Baz, I don't know if it's that way there, but in America, it wasn't until this thing called Title IX came along that women's sports was, given a boost, and they were behind. They didn't have the resources, and then this Title IX came along, and in the college ranks, it really established that there should be equity in terms of financing teams. Now it's still not even, but women's sports in America just took off after that. And we just finished the college basketball championship for men's and women's. And a lot of people were watching the women's this year more than the men's
tournament. Yep.
It was really compelling. It was really good basketball. And when I go over there and I see the women's football, it's like, wow, these people can play, and they deserve their due credit. So it's good to see it taken off, and it's good to see our club in particular really putting an effort into integrating the women's with the overall club structure. So Amanda had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, just very quickly on that. That's actually, Davey, that's a no. The women's team is very separate to the men's. It's basically under the same umbrella, but it has different contribution buckets. And unfortunately, because I thought that I was banging on about this for ages, and someone said, "Well, no, you're completely wrong because the women's generate the money for the women's team, and the men generate the money for the men's team and sponsorship and all that sort of stuff." So unfortunately, it doesn't go towards the men's FFP, I'm afraid, which is a shame because that was another way of making money quickly. Adam P doesn't know what he's talking about then, because I didn't. For about 4 months, I was banging on about it, and someone shut me down very quickly when they heard me say it. So unfortunately, it doesn't go into the men's pot, I'm afraid.
Yeah. That last comment that popped up, as that last comment, absolutely. She was Amanda Stavely is the one who brought the women's team under the fold, brought them back into ownership by the club. If anybody's interested, there's a YouTube video by Eddie Hope on his Tyneside Life on YouTube, his Tyneside Life channel. I want to say it was 2 years ago, or it was definitely before the takeover. But you've got to go watch that video because Eddie interviews one of the former players, and she details what it was like to play for Newcastle United women's under the Ashley years. You've got it buggers belief to listen to what they went through. Right.
They weren't really part of the club. It wasn't until Amanda Stavely came in and actually bought them under the Newcastle United umbrella. So it's great to have it all back, and it's great to see them doing so well. And You met Andy and his
I met Andy.
daughters.
Yep, I met Andy.
His daughter apparently enjoyed it more than the men's game. So,
And there's Simon in San Diego. Hey, Simon.
yeah, Simon's just popped in there.
Simon.
We got to meet Simon in person for the first time. Well, I
And-
know John's met him before.
And his son.
And his son. Yep.
Yep.
I want to do a quick shout out as well, if you don't mind, because
Please
Go for it.
shout out to Sue. That's Sue's mother. That's Sue's mother in the picture. So that's Kieran's grandma, and I thought it was his mum because I went on Twitter and asked, does anyone know the mother of this child? Thinking that was the mother, but it's not. It's the grandma.
Yeah.
And this was very, very special what Newcastle did yesterday. The RNID seller making these shirts that unsilence the crowd for deaf people. And it's like I said, we'll never understand what they're feeling or what it means to them. So we have lined up a show next week sometime. We don't know yet because she's waiting until Monday because there's a lot going on. It's kind of blew up a little bit, but because I was the first to ask, she said, "You're the first. I'm coming on your show first."
Oh,
really
good.
nice of her.
Good.
So we're going to ask her questions. Hopefully, Kieran might be available as well to basically tell us what it actually feels like, means to the parents, to the child.
As let
this
us
has been
know.
4 months in the making. There's 4 months in the making apparently, and I didn't know that.
I knew nothing
work's
about
been
it.
going on in
Let
the
us
background.
let us
Crazy.
know. We'd love to get on if we could.
Yeah, I did say that to her. I said we want. Obviously, there's a lot of people who want to talk to you from our channel in the background, because this was just the picture of the weekend, probably the picture of the season.
Oh yeah.
This and Dan Byrne learning
Dan Byrne
celebration.
that was just brilliant. And that little girl, the way she took it, like it was like him saying it just to her. And that was the special thing about it, wasn't it? It was amazing.
Who's cutting onions?
Yeah, I did a shout out to Sue on Twitter to get everyone to follow her. She had 4 followers last night. I said,
I followed right away.
I said, turn your notifications off because things are going to get a little bit crazy for you. She went, really? I went, yeah. So I just put out a tweet saying, everyone follow her because she's going to turn it into Kieran's account. And I said, everyone wants to, follow her, show the love for this little boy who's just basically all of us inside of us. Want to be that kid and feel that experience at St James's Park every time. And she's got over 600 followers now in 24 hours.
Now we also have to find out who the little girl was because that was her reaction to Dan Byrne's celebration was just like you said, Baz. It was like he did it with me. I taught him that. Look at that. Yeah. Now we're back to seeing the video about the Eddie Hope video about the women's. You see that they had to pay for their own kit. And they got a discount if they modeled it for Sports Direct.
Oh my God!
That's so crazy. But there's another comment coming down.
I'll get to them. Don't worry. I'm just putting comments up because I know John gets.
You're doing good.
I watched a rant just before I left the house. I watched a rant by another podcaster to talk about the BBC and Match of the Day last night. Because they had Danny Hitchcock and Micah Richards and Gary Lineker, and there was no mention of Newcastle's play. It was all about how poor Spurs were.
I hate that.
And they didn't even mention the RNID initiative yesterday.
And that was big. That was big. Other teams are probably going to do it. I mean, we have.
If you look at Twitter, all the other fans of other clubs have said, colours aside, teams aside, even Sunderland fans were saying this. That is what football's all about, and this needs to be celebrated, and it needs to be put into every ground, regardless of cost. They need to do something to sort that out for these children because they're the lifeblood of the club.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys one thing is when we score a goal early, I just get so wound up excited, and then we came back 2 minutes later and we scored another one. They were still celebrating the first one on TV. It was like, whoa, all of a sudden Gordon's in front of the net, right?
I couldn't believe it.
And we scored that second one. And then they show the kids. I just about lost it. I was tearing up. It was like, oh, my God, what a day.
I was blaming the kids for not seeing the second goal.
Yeah.
What a day.
Back on the pitch. What's going on? I can hear the crowd going nuts.
You could hear the crowd getting nuts. Yep.
This was a special weekend. We touched on 2 things. The women's win, right? 10-0 and going up another league. and then the RNID shirts and those kids. And if you watch the little video before the game, it
Someone
was,
had to go there.
it set it all up.
I'm sorry, Andy. Andy, that's rude. True, but rude.
True, but rude. This was one of my highlights of the weekend as well.
That was fantastic. Yeah. Did you see the one tweet? They have Isak right above him, just about to kick it in the goal. And this guy on the ground, and it said, Isak stealing souls out there.
We put him down. We put him down the floor twice, didn't we? Because Gordon did it for the second goal as well.
Goodness.
And yet the announcers are still talking about that guy.
Oh, there was all the replays. I showed Tara the highlights yesterday. It was just like, watch this. I'm not going to tell you how close the goals were apart, but watch how Isak scores, and then there's all of the replays from every angle, and then of course Dan Byrne with and then the little girl's reaction. You can, like Baz said, you can hear the crowd in St. James is getting bigger and bigger. You can hear it getting louder. Something's going on, but of course they're still showing replays. So we almost missed Gordon's. Well, I missed Gordon's goal because I said to Baz yesterday on the show, I was still trying to log on to the watch along to listen to Baz go on, and I said to Baz that his watch along was 30 seconds ahead of where we were with our NBC coverage. So Baz was really excited about Gordon's goal as I'm trying to log on so I can watch, and it just I missed Gordon's goal. I was very happy to see. Oh, that's too sweet. That is a comment that is too sweet.
It's a comment from ages ago. I've already put that up.
You guys bring out the best in us.
Absolutely.
That's why I wanted to put it up there.
We have so much fun when we go over, and
we do.
Again, we're so looking forward to the next one, and we're going to be looking for the schedule to come out, and then we start planning. How many times can we go over? The trip back last year plus this most recent trip have really lit a fire under our keisters. We really want to come over as often as we can. And it's not because of the takeover. I mean, people who have watched this channel, people who have watched me on social media, I've been a fan for a very long time.
Yes. I hear people doubting and questioning your loyalty and stuff like that. It does my head in.
We got married in 2002. Our first child was born in 2005. We were busy for the next 15 years.
Absolutely. That's exactly where I was. And you know what it is Dan, this has just rekindled that love.
Absolutely.
Of the team.
Yeah, but I'll put it to you guys, right? You're talking thousands of pounds to come over and watch Newcastle play because of tickets, flights, and all that sort of stuff. Who in their right mind?
Regs.
Right, exactly. But who in their right mind? Hey!
There she is.
That kiss is for me. Not for
that kiss was for Baz, right?
Who in their right mind would spend that kind of money to come and watch Steve Bruce ball and to watch Mike Ashley's football? I mean, I had to give up my ticket just traveling from York to Newcastle because of the cost of the trains, the cost of the day and everything. And because I want to change in our football club, so I thought that was the best way, was to join the 10,000 of people who said, right, we're giving it up because we're protesting. And that's why I did it. Right. And for you guys to come over and watch that, I mean, Jesus, you'd have to have a mental jacket back on you when you get home and padded rooms.
When we came over in 2018, it just happened to be we were on a UK trip. We landed in Glasgow, spent a couple of days in Glasgow, and then drove down. We reached out to our friends Roger and Siobhan, and they happened to have 3 tickets. He had season tickets his whole life. His dad had passed away the following October. The previous October, and he still had his dad's season ticket. So they invited us to come down. I could go. Then Big Mike was able to score 4 tickets for my wife and kids up in level 7. So they got to see a completely different match. But it was a 2-0 loss to Leicester under Rafa. We got to see Rafa play, Rafa ball. But it was still the
I loved Rafa ball because Rafa ball was like chess. Yeah. And it was like using Shelby as a quarterback is the best way to explain him, the way that you would get us up the pitch in steps and then suddenly he would ping one, and it would be like, right, we're on the attack, we're going to score. You know, it's mental.
Well, we got to see Rondon
Jesus.
and Perez, and yeah, there it goes.
Yeah.
See, I didn't want to ask how much it costs because that's a very personal thing.
Yeah,
at the
sure.
end of the day, but we know it's going to cost a lot. And Simon's telling us exactly how much it costs him to get from San Diego to Newcastle to watch us play for 1 week.
Yeah,
we spend less than that on a family holiday to Spain for 10 days or 7 days, 10 days. We spend about probably $3,000 on an all-inclusive holiday. Do you know what I mean? And we get sun when we go. You're coming over here for the piss and rain.
Yeah, but guess what? Guess what Simon's also telling us, because you saw his previous comment, it's like he's going to do it again. He's already thinking about next year. And that's how committed a lot of U.S. fans are.
100%.
You know.
So Simon, since you got a lot of money, there's a donation button in the bottom right-hand corner.
No, he's like me. All his money goes to Newcastle.
Yeah, well, there you go. I don't blame you. It's mental. It blows my mind that you guys do this. You know,
it's our love of the club. It really is.
Exactly, which is why our friendship is grown, and it's why I want to spend time with you guys, because I understand from a local point of view the sacrifices you guys are making to come over here and support the team. It's amazing.
Well, Dan said it perfectly well, Baz. You're family now, and we got a lot of family over there. You know, Dan's my brother now. I didn't get rid of my real brothers, but he's in the family, and Tara too. And you know, I really feel bad. Only one person I missed this time. Actually, one family. It was Davey and Sarah Craig. Really missed out because he was not well for either match. Yep. Now, yesterday he got to go to the match, which was fantastic. He was commenting about it, and he got to see that match. But
he said that the R&ID kids were right in front of him, so they got to see all of that. They're just
that's amazing.
So what a way to get back to St. James Park. I mean, but I miss him. He's a good man, and I see his friends. I see Bill Corcoran and Graham at the food bank, and they met up with our friend Jamie yesterday, who stopped by to say hello and contribute, like we encourage all American fans to do.
Yep.
So yeah, I just really miss Davey and his wife Sarah. And
our best to the both of them. I'm happy to hear that Davey's on the mend. So
yeah, that's another reason I'm thinking about going to Brighton. I've got the reservations in the hotel and all that booked, but you know, I'm just I don't know. I'm feeling like maybe save that money for next year. I don't know. So
I think we need to go all out next year, mate. I think
before we go to the next segment, I'll say very quickly. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button.
Thank you.
Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to become a member. 99. John, you can't do it because you're the host.
Right.
We're logged in. I think it's only guests who can do that. It's crazy. When he gets the link, he can come in. I think it's only guests who can do it. So memberships are open. 99p, or there's other options, but you get put into a prize draw every month. We give away £140, which the channel makes from all the sponsorship money, and that is from Diacro, who give us $40 every month to give away to their website for you guys to buy one of their bespoke t-shirts. Amazing stuff. There's loads of other stuff on their site as well. It's amazing. Bars 20 for 20%.
They've got duvet. They've got duvets. They've got all kinds of stuff.
Loads of stuff. Link is in the description for that. Football prizes, it's more of a UK thing, this one, though. I don't know if you can do it from abroad, to be honest with you, but football prizes give me £100 a month to shout them out. I then give that back as two £50 prizes to their site to buy tickets to hopefully win an amazing prize that they offer. Now, they do Newcastle shirts. They do loads of other clubs. They do cash prizes. They did one for England v Slovenia, 2 tickets on a private jet to go to the game. You know, they do amazing prizes. Better chance of winning one of these than you have of winning the lottery. The link is below if you want to. And finally, for Lee, who's a mod on the channel, his son is in an MMA fight on a charity night for mental health. Just go to Just Giving, or and then basically type that in. You'll find it, and then donate if you can, because it'd be great if they can get to that £1,000 before the 20th of April, I think it is. We've already made a donation from the channel.
You know, Baz, you're making me look bad.
Sorry, mate.
No, not at all.
By the way, there's 90 people watching, so let's get 90 thumbs up.
Yeah,
Hey, guys.
you're on here, and so I forget that I should be hosting this thing.
Lads, I hate to do this, but I'm
I know, you've
right
gotta
now.
go.
I am in a adjunct professor's office at the local community college because I'm here to see the local stage production of Wonka, and it starts at 2:00, and good see if I can get in there. So
Real
all
quick,
right. Yeah, go ahead, John.
thoughts on this week's match, real quick.
Dude, are you kidding me? For me, it was I put a story on Instagram yesterday. There was a tweet from a Spurs fan that said, "These are all the players that Newcastle are missing," and then
Right.
it said, "If we don't beat that lot, then just a crying emoji." I had to put a GIF, 2 for Isak, 1 for Gordon, and 1 for Cher, and then in the very bottom it said, "We love a plot twist." That's all I can say. I mean, for Isak's 2 goals, Gordon's goal, Gordon's assists, but for me, the cream of the crop was Cher's header. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Just
beautiful header, wasn't it?
Gordon's corner delivery yesterday was fantastic.
His delivery was fantastic. I'd say 80% of his deliveries were brilliant, and then you had the odd bad one, but other than that, it was fantastic.
The cross pitch, there was a cross pitch cross from Gordon to Barnes, where Barnes was storming into the 18-yard box in the Lee's end, and then he passed the ball to Isak only for him to get tackled in the box. It was an almost shot as well. So I mean, John, when you asked me for my thoughts on yesterday's match, the only reason why I say the West Ham match was better than yesterday's match was only because we were 3-1 down and we came back. The fact yesterday was comprehensive. I said compulsive about the ladies' match earlier. I meant comprehensive, but I mean, it was fantastic. It was a good way to wake up yesterday. And there's my buddy Ollie. It's my nephew. Just say hi. This is John. That's
Hey.
Baz.
How you doing? Who's this, Ollie?
He's got on mute.
He's on
mute.
mute.
Take your mute off. Mute on. Mute.
He's gonna go. Yeah.
All right.
We couldn't hear you, Dan.
You've muted it. Wait there.
Now you can hear me.
There we go. Now we can.
I was muted, but I can't hear you guys, so I got to run. Much love to you both. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for everything,
lads, and away the lasses today.
That's right. That's right.
Get in.
Yeah.
Bye all.
That's terrific. Bye. Well, a couple things about we'll wrap up pretty soon here, Baz. But here's you asked me to do a short, and I did that. I don't know when. I probably slept after that. Wow. We're in 6th place after this crazy season. We are in 6th place, and our goal differential is better than Man U, much better. So if we just tie them, we'll stay in 6th place. If we play this high charged way that we've been playing the last few weeks, we might be threatening for 5th place. It's just amazing, and go ahead.
So I put a tweet out about catching Villa and Spurs today, and obviously Villa have gone on and won. So I can't see us catching Villa. I think Villa have got 4th now, and congratulations to them because I can't see them slipping up. Right. But like we mentioned at the start of the show, Spurs could lose their next 3 games in a row, and we could win our next 3 games in a row. I know if it's played on paper, it looks easy. Football's not played on paper, and there's still a lot to happen. It's a massive ask. But if Spurs do lose the next 3 games and we win our next 3 games, it's 1 point behind them. And the goal difference will be massively different as well because of them losing and us winning. We're talking about probably an 8-goal swing. So we could put the shits up them. We really could.
Oh, yeah. Not only that, Baz, if that all happens, the pressure's on them, not us. The pressure will be on them. So, anything's possible now. Especially
the results they've had and the way
yesterday.
they're playing. They don't change the way they're playing, do the Spurs? They always play the same way.
Yeah.
And everyone's learning how to beat them.
Well, yesterday, I want to touch on something that Dan said before he left, and that's some of the deliveries up there to Isak and to Barnes and to Gordon. Some of the really good deliveries. Anderson passed the ball well. Barnes passed the ball well. Gordon passed the ball well. Bruno with a tremendous kick over everybody to get it up front. They were just getting the ball where it needed to be, and we had it could have been 7-0, easily.
Should have been.
Yeah, I mean Gordon missed one. Didn't Kraft hit the post? I mean,
yes, from a scuff shot from the edge of the box. If that had gone in as well, that would have wrapped up everything, wouldn't it?
Gordon missed one. Isak missed one that were pretty close. I'm not faulting them. I'm just saying it could have been a lot worse.
No.
I mean, we were just pounding at them. So
Isak had some glorious chances. There was a header we put wide that we really should have scored in the first half. There was some last-minute blocks, which were unbelievable from Spurs. Yes, we've got a game in hand over Villa, but they're 13 points ahead now. So I just don't see...
Have they played 33 games?
Yeah, they played an extra game, yeah. So
that's
we
right.
won't catch Villa because they've got easier games as well.
Yeah, we would have played Crystal Palace already if the schedule hadn't changed for the Cup. So, yeah. So you're right. They're on 33.
We would have had a nice 2-week break instead of having this extra game if it wasn't for playing Palace a week on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's the only thing that might trip us up a little bit is we got there's 2 games that are pretty close, and then another set are really kind of close too. So how about Murphy in the back? That was kind of neat, wasn't it?
Well, like I said, he played a 3-4-3, so Murphy was only dropping in when we didn't have the ball. And then when we had the ball, we were trying to advance further up. So it was very, very clever how we did it.
It was.
It actually suited the fact that Kraft and Byrne were playing because Kraft's obviously, he's a right centre-back. Shaw's a right centre-back. But what we did is we put Shaw in the middle and said, right, you're the ball-playing centre-back, so we need you to get on the ball and do what you do. Yeah. But then when we didn't have the ball, he asked Murphy to drop in. He also asked... if I remember rightly, Anderson to drop in a little bit as well. It was just, I'll tell you what, Anderson was fantastic. He was. He's ready for ball he played for Isak through was fantastic.
Yeah, should be. Go ahead.
He was so physical. He actually fitted into the Joel Linton role very well. He wasn't as good as Joel Linton, don't get me wrong, but I thought he was brilliant.
Yeah, he's Joel Linton's a boxer and he's a bulldog. I mean, they're both fierce when they have to be, and they're physical. You're right. I love them both. Hey, a shout out to a couple guys. Dan Byrne has gotten so much flack this year, and remember he's been playing out of his position. You put him in his regular position, and he's looking outstanding. He's done really well.
The last 4 games now, isn't it? He's played at left centre back, and he's been absolutely brilliant. Fulham rings to mind. He was fantastic then.
We've been playing great. And then another guy, Longstaff. He was getting so much flack, and it finally came out that he's really nursing a foot injury, but he's given 110%
all the time.
And I got down on him a little bit. The only thing I was upset about was the fact that we were having some tough games, and he was complaining to the ref a lot. I don't like seeing that because it looks it feeds into the other team. Look, we got them on their backs and they're whining. I
agree with that.
I don't like that. So I made a comment once. Nothing to slight him. I've always liked him. I thought that he's getting the most out of himself, and so is Eddie. He's getting the most out of that guy. He's turned him into a really solid player. So I'm glad.
What I was told is that, and I did put it out there in one of his when anyone picked up on it, is that Eddie Howe dragged Sean Longstaff into his office because apparently he wasn't looking himself, and he was looking a bit down. He was asking him why, and he says it was all due to everything he's been hearing, and why you've got to be careful what you say about players, especially direct to them. And social media is horrible for that.
Yeah.
But Eddie Howe sat him down and said, right, this is why you're in the team. These are your stats. This is what you're doing well. This is what I'm asking of you. Yes, there's been some poor performances in there, but there's also been some fantastic performances in there from my point of view, from the manager's point of view. I
Yeah.
believe in you. Start believing in yourself, and I think we'll see a better Sean Longstaff because of that. And
Yeah, that
I
was
thought he kept Madison very quiet.
yeah, that was fantastic. And Eddie, I think that's his special skill with getting people.
Man
You know,
managing, yeah.
he put his arm around Joe Linton early on and got that guy to play midfield, and he's just been outstanding. So,
See,
yeah, he's
things like that.
he's got it.
Someone refused to say his name, calling him 36 because he's not good enough for his team. But respect on the man. His name is Sean Longstaff. Exactly. I mean, he's
Right.
a Geordie as well. I mean,
Right.
people
Yeah.
forget how good he was last season as well, which really
Oh.
annoys me because he was brilliant last season.
Yeah, he was.
He's one of the reasons why we were winning games.
And everybody's had to stretch this year. They're not playing where they want to. They're not, you know, if somebody
He's
like
not had a rest. He's played in every single game,
Yeah.
nearly every minute as well.
Yeah,
People
and
forget that.
he's probably trying to fill the hole that, you know, the whole midfield's been shattered. So, you know, he's trying to do his role and then maybe some other and getting and looking out of sorts because of it, you know. So yeah, you got to give these guys a break. They're working hard.
That was announced today by the Chronicle. It was an interview with Lewis Hall, and his move has been made permanent. He's met all the criteria now. Apparently, the criteria was that we had to be mathematically safe from being relegated, which happened yesterday.
Okay.
So Lewis Hall is now officially a Newcastle player for the future. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, he's coming along too. So I mean, it's you got these young guys that are getting good experience. Elliot Anderson and him. I don't know what.
He got great experience, but he's injured at the moment. He was injured on international duty, which was such a shame.
And we leaned on him really hard.
The future's bright.
We leaned on him really hard for
we did.
a long stretch, and it began to show. And you know, so maybe with maybe only getting 60% of the time he got this year, or 50%. He'll be in rock solid shape and he'll be ready for next year. I'm excited about next year if we just get all our guys back. If we picked up one or two guys, it would be fantastic over the summer season. But if you just had a healthy lineup, we would have been outstanding this year.
Yeah. I'm excited about it depends what competition we're in, because if we're in the Europa League, let's just say, for example, or the Conference League, we don't get Champions League football, which is slim outside chance. Yeah. I'm excited to see the young players being used, like keeping Mente from Feyenoord who's on loan on there, bring him back into the squad, play Miley, play Mente, play Anderson, play these young players in that competition in the early parts of it, and give them experience that they're never going to get if they go to a championship team on loan or wherever they go. I want to see that happen next season. And then concentrate on the league with the bigger players, your Joe Lintons, your Tonali's, you know, Bruno's and Isaacs. Use them in the Premier League to fight for top four.
And you know what, Baz? If we don't get Europa next year, we're going to be trouble, because towards the end of the season, all these other teams have all those competitions. We'll be rested. We'll be ready. And but yeah, you're right. If we get Europa, use those young guys, and then towards the end of next year, when you need somebody, you got a bench of guys that have experience in Europa or some of this. They've gotten playing time. Put them in there. Somebody gets hurt, put them in.
I absolutely agree. And I just think it's just the best way to bleed the players through and giving them the experience that we need them to have. Got that Alfie Harrison as well from Man City, who we want to see.
Right. That's
you know, there's so many very, very talented players that we've not seen yet, which I think could play a big part in next season, because it all depends on the budget. We know we've got areas to strengthen that we weren't expecting to strengthen in. Potentially, we might need 2 centre-backs. We need a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
We need a striker.
Yeah.
So that's players.
Do you think, what's his name, Harrison Ashby, or you think
Harrison Ashby? Yeah, he went on loan to Swansea, got a bad injury, came back.
We don't know if he'd come back.
He looked good, didn't he, in pre-season? He scored a goal in the summer
season.
He
did look good. He looked solid. That's why I asked about him. It's like I never hear about the guy anymore. I knew he got hurt, but
Yeah, he's still injured. I think he's out for the rest. He was out for the rest of the season when he got his injury. So it all depends how he comes back from that injury.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting next season. It really is. And it's exciting because we might not have to spend all the money that everyone's thinking we need to spend, because we've got all these young players to try out in pre-season, see if they're going to develop into the first team squad. And if they're not, then yes, we've got to spend money. But if they do, we've saved ourselves a fortune. And we've got some exciting talent as well.
Yes, we do. Yeah, I want to see a full season of Barnes. I want to see a full.
I can't wait for that. Yeah, Barnes, Gordon.
I hope Willock comes back, and I hope Joel Linton comes back.
Exactly, there's Willock. Joel Linton could be back before the end of the season, apparently.
Yeah, that would be good.
A shock.
Don't play him a lot. Just
that's what I said. I said I wouldn't risk him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we've got some interesting decisions to make as a football club in the summer, because you've got the likes of Wilson. I think he needs to be moved on. We've got about 7 or 8 players who are potentially out of contract, and that frees up wages, and that gives us a chance to be able to buy another few good players. But you want to keep Isak, you want to keep Botman, you want to keep Bruno. These and Joel Lintons who we have kept. You've got to be able to show progression within the squad and buy in at least 2. I would say 2 big names this summer is a must.
That would be good. That would be terrific. We would be.
Don't need a lot, just 2. 2 will do.
Be in fantastic shape if that happens. Exactly. Hey, I was going to do a shout out.
Go for it.
To our sponsor. Whoop. One more time. Dire Crow shirts. I've got a couple. Baz has a couple. I know Big Dan, Superfan Dan's got a couple. They're great shirts. Great family. They support us. We support them. I love their shirts. They're good all year round here in Oklahoma. So if you guys need some Newcastle garb, go to Dire Crow, and you get 20% off with the code BAZ20. 20% off. All right. I struggled through that one.
That's funny.
Yeah, that was easy, wasn't it?
They could be the quickest in the league, to be honest with you, front free yesterday. Potentially could be the quickest. I don't know.
What, even when we're charging down the field, I just love watching the other team sweat when they got the ball. Yeah. They're pushing it. I just love it. Hey, I think we should wrap up.
Go for it. One quick thing. Don't forget about TikTok. We've started TikTok. We've decided to stupidly put our faces out on TikTok, and we had 200 followers about 2 weeks ago. We're now over 600. We will be doing it's amazing how quickly it's grown. We'll be doing little videos, pre-match, post-match. We'll also be getting involved in some of the trends that are going around. Make myself, Ian, John, and Dan look very silly. And when the season finishes, because there's nothing to do in the summer, we're going to be setting ourselves some challenges to do and recording them for TikTok. So that's going to be interesting. So please check all our socials out in the description. There's Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. Obviously, we've got all our Twitter handles on here. And of course, hit the subscribe button to this channel, because we need you guys to talk to us, because it gives us things to talk about.
That's it. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't keep up with the comments, but you did very well.
Oh, I've got you back on that.
You're a seasoned pro, and we want to thank you for coming on. We go on your show all the time, and now you've given us this show, and it's been fantastic. It's a lot of fun, and I'm glad you could sit in, because the shared experiences we had were you had to be with us to experience it, and I was glad you came on to talk about it. Say hi to your parents.
Forget. Oh yes, I will. My parents are literally here today because they're looking after my little girl tomorrow. While me and Claire are busy. So I'll say hi to them for you. But don't forget, guys. So all you guys who are coming over from America in the future, all you guys who watch the show, we will do a meet and greet the next time John and Dan are over.
Yep.
And we will put out dates and the venue and all this sort of stuff. But it is in the pipeline. So everyone who wants to get photographs with them too, because leave me out of it. Just John and Dan. You can. I just
like getting photographs with them. I like meeting new fans. Exactly. So it's fun. It's fun. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap up. Thank you very much, sir. We'll see you later. Away the lads.
Bye.